Hello there. Welcome back to the Bedtime with Cousin Vinny series, exclusively on YouTube. I am critically acclaimed national author, Cousin Vinny Agnello, and we've been reading my critically acclaimed hit book, The Devil's Glove, a book that's raved about in faith columns around America, and this is one of the great teases, as we're going to read about 180 pages, and once we've read about half the book, I figure that you might want to go to that phone number back there, or cousinvinny10@gmail.com, and contact me for your discounted version of The Devil's Glove, which is the second edition. I left you off last time, folks, on page 134, and Eddie and Billy were involved in a chapter called A Rebellion in Heaven. And Billy was trying to teach Eddie how to catch up with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. This is page 134. Good. You're right. You can swing this bat a lot faster than the one I was using. But are you sure about that increase in power you were talking about? Absolutely. It's the speed, not the lumber, Eddie. With that bat, you can catch up to a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. Remember, when a ball is coming in at 90 miles per hour, it doesn't take much to send it a distance. Just making contact with a speeding bat will increase the velocity tremendously and get it to its destination very quickly. That's why you hear about major league home runs getting out of the ballpark so fast. You're incredible, Coach. You know everything when it comes to baseball, don't you? You give me way too much credit, Eddie. There's a lot of ex-ball players who've forgotten more than I'll ever know. I guess you're referring to my phone friends, huh? Eddie asked as he practiced his swing. Whatever you say, Eddie. Another thing, kid, you got to keep your swing level, no matter how fast you're swinging the bat. That's why you have to practice so much. Fundamentals in baseball are everything. Eddie immediately began adjusting his quicker but so far uneven swing to a more level one as his coach suggested. While his coach looked on, he quietly practiced this new quick and level swing for about 10 minutes until he felt confident that he was starting to master it. Your swing is starting to look a lot better, Eddie. Thanks, Coach. Can you throw a ball 90 miles per hour? Wish I could, but I never pitched except in batting practice, and they don't pitch 90 miles per hour in batting practice, kiddo. And even if I could throw that fast, I wouldn't stand in against me. There's something called control that's relevant here, and I'm sure at 90 miles per hour, that's something I'd be without. Gotcha, Coach, Eddie chuckled. So you're telling me that you're not another Nolan Ryan? The dream coach looked over at him and asked, dumbfounded, "Who's Nolan Ryan, Eddie?" "I think he came after you. Can I ask you a question?" "Sure, I can't guarantee that I'll be able to give you the answer you're looking for, but you're certainly entitled to ask." "Well, I've been meaning to ask you this for quite some time now, but I just never found the right moment. I don't want you to take offense or anything. I just wondered, I know it probably sounds pretty silly to you, but are you dead?" "Ruth and Garrett are, so I just wondered if you were too." The coach's smile instantly left his face, and his expression became one of deadly seriousness. He looked Eddie straight in the eyes before answering in a most alarmed and defensive manner. "No, Eddie, I can't be dead. I've got a hell of a lot to live for. You know, I've got a lot of other talents besides playing baseball. How in the world could I be dead? I mean, look at me. I'm vibrant, I'm strong. I got my whole life to look forward to." "No way, Eddie. The thought of me being dead is definitely a silly notion on your part and just not feasible. Don't you agree? Well, certainly. That's what I thought. I mean, you look awfully alive to me, Eddie said happily, but taken aback by the question. He realized that he had struck a very sensitive nerve in his coach. He quickly added, and believe me, I know you have a lot more talent than just the way you coach baseball. No offense was intended by the question. I'm really sorry for asking it. It's just that you're not very up to date on things. You know, the White Sox don't wear that style uniform anymore. They don't? No, I don't think they've worn that style uniform in a long time. Did you play for them? Eddie, what did I tell you? The dream coach asked in frustration. You're not allowed to talk about your life. I'm sorry for asking. I'm really not trying to be a pest. It's just that I want to know so much about you. I mean, I see you all the time, and I really don't know a thing about you. I don't even know your name. Oh, what the heck? Maybe this is just a dream after all. Eddie, you make your own reality. I'm as real as you want me to be. And as far as my name is concerned, I think Coach will suffice. Sadly, Eddie stared out and gazed around the empty ballpark. What is really reality? He questioned. This place seems so real. Maybe I'm in another dimension, he reasoned. He recalled an episode of the television show The Twilight Zone, where people living in the world had identical twins in an anti-world. He thought for a moment that maybe he had entered into one of those anti-worlds. Thinking the entire hypothesis through began to give him a tremendous headache. His final thoughts on the matter were that maybe his coach really was alive like he said he was. Maybe he just mysteriously got transferred to another realm of existence. Heck, if he could get here, why couldn't his coach? He came to the conclusion that life is all about passages. He theorized that maybe everyone just travels from one realm to another. Maybe we never really die. Tears started to fall from his eyes as he made this epiphany. His dream coach perceptively asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing. I think I might have figured out what life is all about. Thanks to you, I think I've discovered our true destinies." The coach shook his head in wonder as he watched the tears flowing down the boy's face. The boy was so emotional and reminded him of how he used to be at that age. "Kid, you're too profound for me. I'm just a ball player. I'm not an atomic bomb scientist. I don't know anything about life's destinies, other than the fact that in spirit, I'll always be here with you," he said in an attempt to comfort him. "Well, that, my friend, if you ask me, is pretty good destiny. And don't try to snow me on your lack of intelligence. I think you're a lot wiser than you let on. You know, I always want to be able to come here and see you." As soon as those words were uttered, the dark man came out of the dugout and made his way across the baseball diamond to home plate. He stopped and stared over at Eddie. It was almost as if he could look right through him. This was the moment the manager had been waiting for. "If you truly mean what you say, then you better listen to what your coach wants done to those boys that played keep away with your glove, Eddie. or you won't be coming down here anymore. That I can guarantee," the manager said threateningly. "Don't sweat it, boss. I told you that I'll give him the divine inspiration he needs. Believe me, when he awakens, he will know what to do," interjected the coach, putting an affectation on the words divine inspiration. "He better," said the dark man. "Don't fail me, Eddie, because I'm deadly serious about your plight," the dark man threatened, while sneering over at the coach. He looked like the poster child for Frustrated Control Freaks Anonymous as he angrily wandered back to the dugout. "I don't like him. I've heard about guys like him before. They always feature them on America's Most Wanted. They call them control freaks." America's Most Wanted? Huh? Coach repeated curiously. "What is that? Like a radio or television show?" "You have to excuse me, Eddie. I guess I'm not up on current events. All I know is that they're the boss here." "Yeah, I can see that. Coach, do you think you could arrange for me to face a pitcher who could throw the ball to me at 90 miles per hour? I'd feel so much more confident at the tryouts if I got a chance to face that kind of heat beforehand." "I think the best I can do, Eddie, is to bring in a pitcher who can throw in the high 80s. Believe me, that's close enough. You've never faced anyone who could throw that hard before." "Cool. Who do you have in mind?" "Eddie Cicotti." "Eddie Cicotti? You don't mean the Eddie Cicotti who helped throw the World Series?" "Yeah, that's exactly the Eddie Cicotti I mean. When you're here, you only deal with the best. When do you want to face him?" Eddie had a dumbfounded look on his face as he pondered the question. "Eddie Cicotti, huh? Well, even if you could get him here, he'd be way too good for me. I mean, this guy should have been in the Hall of Fame. I don't think I'd stand a prayer at bat against him. You will if we limit his pitching arsenal. We'll tell him to throw you nothing but fastballs. Believe me, he'll do what he's told." "Well, under those circumstances, I'd give it a shot, but his pitching location would be way too much for me. I'll have him throw the ball right down the center of the plate. Would that make you happy, kiddo?" "Yeah, I mean, tell him I'm only 15 years old. Tell him I'm just learning the game." "Don't sweat it, kid. Old Eddie is an expert at delivering meatballs for a price. Let me go talk to the manager." Eddie watched in amazement as his coach marched toward the dugout. "You're serious, aren't you?" "Of course I'm serious. What do you think I'm doing, taking this walk for my health?" his coach said, grinning. As his words died out, the coach disappeared into the shadows of the dugout. Eddie continued to practice swinging the bat evenly and quickly. He concluded that everything was possible in this dream world. Momentarily, the coach reappeared with an average-sized man following him. Eddie tried to listen to the two men converse as they made their way toward the pitcher's mound, but for some unknown reason, their voices were muffled. It was frustrating for Eddie because nothing ever seemed to work the same way in the dream world as it did in the real world. His number one peeve was the deafness he suffered whenever he perceived that something important was being said around him. He was infuriated as he stared over at his coach and that ball player conversing while hearing absolutely nothing. "Thanks a lot for thinking of me. I've been waiting to pitch for a long time now," said the average-sized man wearing the ancient Chicago White Sox uniform. "Well, this kid needs to get in with a real fastball, and according to the manager, yours is as good as we've got," the coach stated frankly. How about I make you a deal? If I'm able to strike this kid out, let's just say 10 times in a row, then I earn my wings and get to leave this wretched place. How's that sound? I'm afraid it doesn't work like that, Sakati. You're here for good, buddy. This is just a small vacation for you. I mean, if you got a problem with that, we could always send you back to where you came from and find somebody else. No. That won't be necessary. Come to think about it, this seems to be like a really nice place to pitch. No. I'm in no hurry to go back. You're the boss. You tell me what you want from me.